Hi, Leo. Welcome to this space. Welcome now. I hope you're doing good. Happy opposite birthday, by the way, depending on when you arrive. Zumi is definitely chewing on a bone because she just got a bath, and she used to really hate. Well, she's more like a fox. She doesn't really like water, but she's gotten used to it, and that's her reward for doing what is necessary, right? There's always a reward for doing what is needed, right? Sometimes the thing, especially that you don't want to do, but you know and that it needs to be done. I feel like we repeated a little bit there. That's okay. What do you need to do right now? How beautiful do you feel that you are? How do you feel about you right now, too, is a good question. Physically, and then also, emotionally, like, how much do you love yourself? How courageous do you feel right now in your heart? Okay, so you're reading, we're going to use the same cards as everyone else. And you are recorded on the same day as Libra. And I could like feel my kidney before your reading too, which is ruled by Libra. So maybe they could give a message for you. I also see Aries, right? Right action, right prayer. But this card is your first card. We're going to go one by one with you. This beautiful card. I feel like Pisces had this card also. But it's a father actually teaching his daughter about life and what to do. Let's read it. This is called the Age of Jewels. So, it says, a master craftsman has explored the beauty and characteristics of stone. He has learned to make things that are both beautiful and useful. Years of experience has taught him to see the inner nature of a stone and to release it. Carefully molding it, shaping, and guiding it to become something more than it was. Slow, careful crafting provides many hours of reflection, and he also has learned that humans, like stones, are full of potential. But sometimes they require gentle polishing or chipping away in order to become what they were born to be. So this card represents dedication, right? And learning, understanding. And of course, creatively, I actually really love this card for you, the yellow too. It was almost like kind of the sun and the moon mixed together also. Which is feeling good in your heart, feeling good and confident in your abilities, right? In your skill sets, and actually in realizing, like for instance, where is it that you know enough that you feel like you could teach another person how to do that? Like a friend was like, oh, I don't know how to do this, and be like, oh, I could show you. You know what I mean? Like, where do you feel confident there? And how is it that your father taught you? Or, I guess this is also, because usually the father is what teaches courage, right? Shows it's that masculine action, although it's a feeling space internally, right? Initially. That then makes the action. Although sometimes we have to make choices where I heard we don't know all the answers. But you want to think long and hard about that. But not stop yourself from doing new things either, because, you know, the thing is, Leos, you're so creative. Wherever you go, there you are. And you can create anything you want. All the things that you want. You rule, I want. So, what is it that you were also wanting to learn more about in this time? Okay. Ooh, yeah, nice. Like, what's the plan? Right? What's the plan, Leo? Cancer had a lot to do with this too. That's your neighbor, right? Sun and moon together. Yeah, what is the plan? What have you been drawing, right? Art. What have you been... Right, when we draw things, or we create things, this creates our reality, you know? So what's the last thing you... And I see this more as physical, although creation, of course, can be invisible, right? This, we don't have to go, I don't have to explain this to you. But the physical here, I feel like is important. The physical creation, right? This is an earth card. We're talking about a physical creation. For some of you, this could be something that takes your time. It takes, again, your skill. It could even take money. But that also goes to show that you either have what you need, or if you know what it takes, and you know that you got what it takes, well, that's a huge step in the plan in its motion, okay? So maybe some of you also want to refine something. Like, I don't know, some of you could have just moved, or maybe you're moving to a new space, right? Some of you could also need a new car, too. Like a new way to get from here to there, or maybe you're taking new routes also, right? And I see, how far are you willing to go to be uncomfortable? Like, what's your... Because you probably have a pretty high threshold of uncomfortable. We've talked about this before. Your open-heartedness actually causes problems for you sometimes. Your understanding can be naive, right? All the fixed signs to me can be a bit naive. That's not a diss. We all have this in our chart. There's these places where people are like, right, there's two sides to everything. Wherever something's really strong, sometimes it's strong on the outside, it's weak on the inside. If it's strong on the inside, it may seem weak on the outside. It depends what's, you know, I heard what's being presented. I see other people are supportive of this journey. People are wondering what your plan is too. Maybe this is something about taking initiative also. Like where, for instance, I mean, there are so many different kinds of Leos. It's hard to group such a big thing into a small thing. But courage, regardless, is so important to Leo. Right? Understanding your skill sets, realizing how beautiful they are. I see thanking like God for that, right? For that talent that you've received in this life, or these things that you're good at, and that includes the things that you liked and that you practiced and you became better. That's also a gift, right? It isn't always expertise in the beginning. I highly doubt it ever is. So we have to try, right? Saturn is your opposite. You have to work towards it physically. And so I heard, how old are you now? And then it's 2 years ago. Five years ago, 9 years ago. Leo. Nice. Just a second. You receive the animal of jewels. It's this bird. Pisces also had this card, I believe, which sits beneath the other yellow one. Cool. So we have the colors that are going together. Then we have green and blue. So we're talking about the sky and the earth. Okay, so all the way from the top to the bottom, right? Like a big tree that's strong. Where is it that you're more like a tree when you need to be more like the wind? Let's read this. You have the environment of nature. Okay. Then the child's looking over at this card, right? For this is the direction. So it says, excuse me. There she blows. Even when living in harmony with nature, humans are humans and our journey isn't always easy. This man faces a hard task. Oh, this isn't this card, but I want to keep reading this to you. Well, I guess this person is letting you know this. This person faces a hard task. Before setting forth towards the rainy horizon, he leaves with a deep sigh. He heaves a deep sigh, as if to breathe in the strength to put one foot in front of the other. He touches the carved stone. The natural world cannot manage our challenges for us, but in it we can find support, encouragement, and strength to carry on. The beauty of the world can ease our anxiety, and the awe-inspiring glory can bolster our faith. Whenever we are faced with what feels like more than we can bear, reaching out can fortify us. We sigh, exhaling all that holds us back, and we take a deep breath, inhaling power, focus, and confidence. So this card is also about releasing anxiety or fear, right, about something. Either some of you did something brave. If you did something brave, and this would be like a major shift for you. Congratulations. I feel like that's being rewarded, because now what you move into is the child of nature. After I see this as achieved, this because it sits beneath the chariot, so something has to move, right? And the moon is what moves it. It has to be like an emotional shift pushes it, or the emotions have to be set aside. Again, fear, anxiety has to be set aside so that one can move forward, because the chariot usually wears armor, right? It's almost like Cancer moving into Aries, where it's stronger, and it's realizing that, like, you can't always choose emotionally. You know what I mean? Because there's no logic, and you end up putting yourself in unnecessary circumstances, right, that are less than... it's like something becomes dull, right? And you need the polishing. So this card here represents a desire to reach higher and to see more, right? It says, maybe he climbs a tree. Oh, here, you can look at it better than my mug. It says, maybe he climbs a tree to receive a broader view. Maybe he just imagines what it would feel like to rise above the forest canopy. Oh, Libra had this, funny. Either way, he is serenely curious, not driven by fear. He has learned the first lesson of finding. which is to find a place where he can see clearly. If he wants a broader perspective or a larger vision, he cannot expect to find it by looking at the same things in the same way from the same place that he always has. He knows the second lesson also, that his attitude will have a big effect on what he finds when he seeks. That if he looks for the good in the world, he will surely find it. This is also about finding good news. So maybe there's something about environment, and this could have to do with like a child, or like maybe there's some inner child work. I could also see this as like a creative environment, you know, a place that is thriving, not just surviving. Do you know what I mean? Like where there's more expansion and creation in it, because that's who you are. You're meant to. Leo is always meant, almost like a Scorpio, where like I feel like Leo actually changes a lot, or is meant to try new things all the time. You know what I mean? Now, of course, responsibly. So I guess, what did you learn from your parents, or... Yeah, let's go with parents. What did you learn from your parents about responsibility? Like about work, about what it takes to, you know, maybe it was some things that now that you're older, you can look back and realize, like, all the things they had to do, even if it wasn't, you know, nothing's perfect, but like all the things they really did to ensure that you're here. And I guess each generation is meant to like match in some sort of way the energy, right? Like whatever was put forth is going to give that next generation energy. But then that in and of itself, those people, or that person, or you within that generation, is meant to also work as hard as that was, right? So that energy can go forward into the future. Does this make sense? Like, it has to be fair. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's been so many generations that, you know, where people, for instance, say to themselves, like, oh, these kids these days, you know, like, they're lazy, or they don't, because it's become more and more and more convenient, right? These little things. It makes people lazy. It makes people docile. That's why you got to stay on your toes. That's why you got to try new things. That's why you got to look at things from different places and move to different spaces and have different conversations about what it is that you know, right? Or what it is that you are wanting to know, or what it is that you don't know, and then wanting to know what that means, right? Okay, Leo, just a second. I really want you to look at your strength right now. Like, I want you to realize what you have. Well, how do I see this? What are you focusing on? And maybe you need to take even an old plan and then, I don't know, like go over it. Or like an old, you know, like, it's not exactly reinventing the wheel, but it's kind of like, how far are you within the goal, right? Because again, if something's, I saw in the beginning where you've been working on something for a long time, right? And then I saw the word rewarded. Just a second. Oh, I'm gluing my puzzle together. I can't find the dictionary. All right. Oh, this is again, this is also, we'll keep moving. This is also about having a broader vision, right? And it's about a long-term goal. So what's the timeline on what you're trying to do? Maybe you want to give yourself a little bit of a parameter with something, or just pay attention a little bit more to time. Right, that's the opposite of you, Saturn. Like, not so it bogs you down, you know, where you feel like you don't have time, but really paying attention to it helps you to realize how much time you actually have to create. And how, again, one spends their time is what is created, right? We can't always, for instance, be safe, you know? Everything is not, of course, but you don't want to put yourself in circumstances either where it pushes you, because again, because you're so understanding, sometimes you let things slide that are inappropriate to you. Like it hurts you and you'll ignore it, you know, or be strong about it. That's where you're kind of strong. It's like when people treat you like crap, right? That's one of your strengths. But what about being strong and just in walking away from things, or realizing when something's unhealthy and you're like, no, I'm not. I mean, you don't have to get mad. It's just the same kind of chill reaction you do most of the time to other people, even if they do things that are stupid or shitty, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you want to have that in yourself, the strength of not doing something instead of like trying to make, I don't know, like, because sometimes there is, the answer is in the wind. And this is where the tree and the wind, it's like, I feel like that's Libra Taurus too. That's how I see Earth. Right, air pushes Earth. Just a minute. Okay. This was awesome. This is one of my favorites. It's called Creative Power. Feels like a Scorpio card to me. It says, there are different kinds of power. Some of it brutally destructive. Creative power is transformative and taps into the ability to create new life. When a new life begins, the components work together for a greater goal. They do not fight against each other, trying to overpower the other parts. The creation would not survive, grow, or flourish if they did. Creative power allows one to take the resources available, learn their strengths and weaknesses, and find ways to blend them so that the whole is worth more than the sum of its parts. It finds for all life, it finds ways for all life to flourish without needlessly destroying anything, right? Because I keep seeing someone with their middle fingers like this, like that. It's not, you know, you don't have to wait till shit. I guess that's what happens with the fixed signs sometimes, is like you wait till shit hits the fan. You know what I mean? And that's where you're using your strength in an incorrect way. You know what I mean? The strength to endure something, for instance, that is just not good for you. Do you know what I mean? Now, of course, this could be a reminder for some of you. I heard something some of you are going through, and right now is a lot to do with you. And realizing, for instance, like, when it is time to create and when it is time to separate, and realize that that separation, or what would be like a no for Leo, right? Which is difficult, I know. This gives, when you do that from an empowered place, you know, you choose from an empowered place, you receive many yeses that you can choose from, or you receive like one really good yes, and then from there, because of that courage and endurance and doing the Saturn responsible thing, what happens is then you get many yeses, right? All these new doors open up for you because you figured out how to I guess realize wherever you feel like you're lacking, you're not. You have the support of your ancestors, you have the support of your family, you have the support of your friends, you have the support of nature, you know, you have my support. You have Zumi, I'm sure Zumi supports you. Because I heard no one likes making the same mistake over and over. Like, you know what I mean? The same thing over and over and over. Ooh, the rhinoceros. Just a second. I haven't read this card yet. It's the, is that the child of souls? Oh no, the animal of souls. Okay, says this. Can you see that? It says the hunter tracks the rhinoceros, a dangerous animal with a famously poor eyesight. Because this animal is easily spooked, the hunter must know its ways and must stay quiet. He also wants to keep the beast in sight. If he loses sight, a sudden noise could scare the rhino. The resulting charge could cost the hunter his life. The rhinoceros is an apt metaphor for our shadow, the darker parts of our soul. Unless we view them clearly, they sneak up on us, wreaking havoc in our lives. More importantly, we have to learn to hunt these parts and capture them, symbolically integrating them so we become whole. This is a minor version of the ritual death of the shaman, a version we experience over and over as we continue to bring our inner shadows to light. So I guess that's a part of it too, is like not ignoring, right, again, how you feel. Like being honest about that, because, and whenever anything is, if there's anything for you that keeps popping up or like a repetitive issue, it's almost like asking you right now to continue or to put the pieces together more of like what the pattern really is. Go wider, right? Like that perspective, like really take a hawk-eye view about it, okay? Because this may not give you all the answers, but it will at least be able to put you in a place to be able to see more, like see a wider, more faithful place in yourself and wherever you shall be going, right? And actually, I just split to the card Abundance. It has a lot of pink on it too, which is healing to me. There's a shaman again and the little kid with the bird. Cute. Let's read Abundance. I feel like that would be good for you. I'm learning this deck. I hope you don't mind. They're really beautiful cards. He passed away too, Sergio Topi. So Abundance. Just a second. It says the earth provides to sustain all life, as long as things stay in balance. The hunter smiles and looks towards his tribe, happy, knowing that there is enough food. All can take a share. Needs are met, and no one takes more than they need. The sun is glorious, but too much of it causes a plant to die. Well, I keep seeing the words like prosperity and then fairness. You know, like, we get what we put in. You know what I mean? But sometimes we don't, as a human, I heard, like, again, we'll have all the answers before we do something, but it's almost like the more we learn sometimes, well, I guess the more one can become scared, because then it can just loop back around. And maybe these are lessons for some of you looping back around. You just want to pay attention. I'm seeing, what is that, Leviticus? $1985. I guess that's that. 3131, we'll take it. I love you, Leo. Interesting reading. Thank you for these messages. Actually, Libra was the 7th and you were the 8th sign, which is interesting because I feel like 1 through 6 was like super mellow. And then I get into Libra, which wanted to start doing something different, right? So maybe this is a little bit of difference with your relationships too. And of course, the relationship with yourself, like I heard feeling whole in that, you know, feeling comfortable and abundant and confident, courageous in whatever you're about to do and whatever you're doing, right? Like, and how, and realizing that there's, I mean, again, you're such a creative person. But anyway, the energy has just been shifting, and thank you for, I guess, lightening it up, right? That's a part of what Leo does too, is bring light to a situation. So always know that you can do that in you. And sometimes it's okay for you to make boundaries with people, okay? Like, that is necessary at times. That's another thing that fixed signs have a hard time with. Yeah. And what is it emotionally that's, you know, that's stuck, where you have to like get mad? You actually have to like get mad to get it out. Right? You got to think about it. You're a lion. They friggin' roar, you know? Now, of course, not at anyone, just out. You know, there's a difference. That's integrity for one's feelings, right? Okay. 3333, perfect. I love you so much. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for this conversation. I do hope this was of service. And please know that wherever you put your time and your energy, YC creates your reality, and or creates reality in general. So in that, you being here, thank you for that also. You know, you are helping these messages be. And yeah, the ace of the etching of jewels, interesting. Your peridot, right? Your stone, one of your stones. I think that's one of the ones that was in Jesus's chest plate too. I'll talk to you next time. Peace.